Let's see if I can. Yeah, so, okay, so I am recording. Very good.
Wonderful. Okay. We are back from a little break for our number 7 series with Ynge Ljung and the Allergy Kit. We are doing our allergy series. This is episode 7, and today's topic is back to school challenges and laser energy treatment. So we're going to talk about all about back to school and the allergies that can happen, and fears and anxiety. So let's get started. So tell me a little bit about what you're thinking about today. You know, what happens when everybody goes back to school? We all know those emotions get involved, and then certain symptoms start to appear as the month or two gets into the school year with tummy aches and stuff.
Yes, I think many kids, first of all, they're anxious of getting back. Some probably are very happy, but there is still an underlying anxiety going back to school. They don't know, somebody have new classes, or they start anew and don't know their peers, and there's a lot of things to be anxious about. So I have different kits, and in the kits for the children specifically, I have vials for anxiety, fear, and anger, because I have many mothers that have great results with their kids, especially kids on the spectrum, or just a little bit maybe ADHD or something. They are always anxious before they go on the bus. And when the mothers treat them for the anxiety or fear before they leave, and then when they come back, they treat them for anger, because they're often angry when they get back for whatever reason. And that seems to work very, very well.
Okay. Can they use that daily, the vial for
Yes.
fear or anxiety and anger?
Yes, the emotions can be used even several times a day. There is no restriction on that.
Wonderful. That's great to know. Like, my child's having multiple breakdowns after being 7, 8 hours in school, and I just need the support, to get through the rest of the evening. I have homework and chores and cooking, and and of course the child is not feeling well. Obviously, they're angry, and that is such a good thing to know that hey, there's like a vial for that, you know?
Yes,
That's
yes,
a slogan. There's a vial for that.
and it does work. It sounds silly maybe, but it does work.
Yeah.
And then many kids, they are allergic to unknown things. They don't even know why they get a tummy ache, for example. Many kids, they don't really, their bodies are not made for the school they get, for the food in the school they get. And they may have
They're on
many
their lunch
different
program, or
yeah.
Maybe not bringing food
So
from
they,
home.
yeah,
Or
so they may have many different reactions. And so one of them can be tummy aches, which is uncomfortable. And then behavior problems,
right.
or that they can't focus, or that they get overly tired and fall asleep.
Right, right. So for the tummy aches, how would most parents that come to me, they're like, I don't, my child is just always with a hurting tummy, or they have diarrhea, or they're constipated, but they really don't understand, like, why is that happening? How would any tips that you can give, like, for them to realize, like, oh, tummy aches is probably something that they're eating that's causing it, and how can they figure out what that is?
Yes, that is definitely something they are eating. And if they don't want to do the kit, which is a system how to systematically eliminate the basic allergies, you don't really know what they are, because we all have them and we all have the same ones. And otherwise, what they can do is write a journal, even though it's hard to do maybe when they are in school, but see I think it's known what they get for food in school, right?
Yeah, they
So
do
they can
have a
write down,
published schedule of the food, I think. Yeah.
yeah, so they can write down, okay, today is meatballs and potatoes. And then they see how the kid is when they come home, and write how they feel, ask them if they had tummy aches or if they felt something different. And then the same thing in the morning and the evening, write down how they feel when they wake up, and how they are in the evening. so that this way they can pinpoint what they react to.
Right.
Because, I mean, many reactions, it doesn't have to be tummy aches. It can be just like behavior problems, either that they get angry, or that they can't sit still, or they simply cannot focus. So that
Right.
can be either the food, but it can also be smells. It can be smells from paint on the walls, for example, or cleaners that they use in school.
Oh, you know what I'm remembering? When my son was in 4th grade, I think, the school got these beautiful new smart screens.
Ah,
And the rooms are small, like they weren't large rooms. And he said that he felt like the energy, he didn't know how to explain it, like the vibration or the energy was giving him a headache every day. And so I had to complain to the school, and they're like, oh, that's so weird. Why would he be whatever? Like it's that
it's
EMF
not
probably also.
exactly.
Yeah.
That is definitely
You have an EMF file?
yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm sure you did.
And
Yeah.
of course, I mean, it is. I remember a few years back when they started with computers in school in France, they were prohibited from using it, but I'm sure that has changed by now. But kids are so, first of all, their brains, their skulls are so much thinner than grown-ups. So they are much more sensitive. And I also recommend that the parents turn off, buy a clock at Home Depot, install a clock and says, okay, the Wi-Fi goes up and out at between 7 and 9 or something, and then turns it on again when they get up at 7 or 8, whenever that is. At
Right.
least during the time when you lay still and sleep, because these frequencies are invasive, very
Yeah,
invasive.
they are. They really do cause a disturbance. And so that's wonderful. So for tummy aches, we really recommend for you guys to do the whole kit, because it's going to take you through chicken, meat, eggs, dairy, even parasites, and support like vitamin C, right? I think even vitamin B is in it. I'm trying to remember off the
Yes,
top.
and be in sugar, and the sugar, because
Sugar, right, right, right. And all the different grains, or different types of grains, or like
yes.
gluten. Yeah.
Mhm.
So this kit is really going to take you guys through the basics of it, and it's going to really help provide that support and give a foundation. If you don't know where to start, you start with the kit, and then you can add on the vials. Like if your child specifically is dealing with lots of anger issues, you could get the anger vial, or maybe there's a lot of anxiety or fear. As she mentioned, you can use that on a daily basis to really help the child through the emotions that they're going through.
But
So
yeah, but I also
Mhm.
have the kit for autism. It doesn't have necessarily to be autism. It can be ADD or ADHD. I mean, many grown-ups suffer from the same things. And they have the cats and dogs, and they have the 3 emotional vials. They have the AMF, and they also recently added the neurotransmitters with histamine and
Right.
stem cell activation, which I think could be really a game
Game
changer.
changer. Wow. So stem cell activation, tell us a little bit about that for those who aren't familiar what that really means.
Yeah, so it's something that is pretty late or recent has come up, and more are talking about the stem cells and how they are asleep, kind of. And I don't really know exactly how it works.
Yeah. I mean, the body is
I'm
complex.
just,
Yeah. Yeah.
studying the different things, and I say this could be a game changer.
Yeah.
Together, and treat that together with the neurotransmitters with the histamine, because
Wow.
it is the histamine, the neurotransmitters. So many foods are high in histamine.
Yes. Even things like chocolate and
Yes,
avocado, banana,
a, yeah, a lot of stuff. So
yeah.
we get that all the time, and
And for
it's hard to
people
know
who, for
what we
example,
react to. what we react to.
Right. For people who seem to react to everything and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything. I react to everything. That's an issue, if
Yeah.
your child's reacting to everything, that's that there's like a histamine issue there going on, and that they may have some type of mast cell activation where the littlest trigger just sets them off. And that could also show behaviorally as well, besides just like a tummy ache or nausea, for example,
Mhm.
or hives. Um, just that leaky gut, because when the gut barrier, that intestinal lining gets leaky, right? There's little holes in it,
Yeah.
bacteria, viruses, proteins, histamines, foods, whatever, go through to the other side where the bloodstream is, and
It goes
then it,
directly, yes,
and then
out
it
in the blood.
causes that histamine reaction. And
Well,
then that,
yeah,
yeah,
that because that creates allergies. Because
right.
there are many people who say they react to everything and they get worse and worse, but they may be eating wheat, for example, which creates holes in the intestinal lining. We know that. And another thing is, I think most people, and it's not talked enough about that, is the vitamin D.
Mm,
Everybody should be tested for vitamin D. And doctors say when you have, or when the measure is about 30, it's normal. It's not. It should be between 70 and 100.
right,
Because if you don't have sufficient vitamin D, which is a hormone, not a vitamin, you cannot heal the gut.
right.
It builds up the immune system, it intervenes in so many processes in the body. So it's really to stay healthy, go and measure the
Yeah, there
vitamin
are
D.
so many testimonials of people who just change vitamin D in their supplements or whatever, and they really work on that. And all of a sudden, a lot of their issues seem
Yes.
to disappear.
Mhm.
There's a lot on YouTube. My dad was going down this rabbit hole on vitamin D. He's like, wow, this person and that person and this person,
Yes.
which seems to be tied to a fat absorption issue because
That too. You should take the vitamin D together with fat.
right, because um uh it is a fat soluble vitamin which gets stored versus a water soluble vitamin
Mhm.
like vitamin C that doesn't get stored. The body uses it usually within the hour. So whatever is not used, up gets excreted. And if you have a fat digestion issue, aka gallbladder, right? And then we're tying in all the like
Yes.
organs here, you may not be able to digest or absorb and assimilate vitamin D.
Or you are on super fat-free food,
Oh, right. Fat-free diet. That probably
fat-free
causes
diet. Yeah, that
that
is a
issue.
big key.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of the most, and also today, to get the really absorb the vitamin D from the sun, you need to be naked for 20 minutes every day in the sun. Who does that? You would probably be sued.
Nobody. Yeah.
So it's really, and then not only that, people go out, they have sunscreen, they have
Right.
glasses that takes out the sun.
Yeah.
So sun is a protector for cancer, but so it's like,
Speak Yeah, speaking of Dr. Christopher, the herbalist from like the 70s and 80s that was pretty popular. He still has his legacy website up, and he has this whole cancer protocol, sun protocol, where he would send his patients out into the desert somewhere, like to go for like a month or so just on their own, obviously with doing other things, but he would literally have them be naked so that obviously they could do this without anybody like watching them. Um, and they would build a tolerance every day, like start with 15 minutes, then
yes.
build
Mhm.
it up 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, literally naked, and that healed the skin cancer. Like
Yeah.
that was healing, like really helping to, and then they could be all day out in the sun and never get quote unquote burns because their body had built up a tolerance
Yes.
to it. So yeah, back in the day, people used to be in the sun, working outside, hunter and gatherer. Nowadays, we're all in office buildings like us right now, sitting behind a computer screen. So I really try to get, I have a farm, like a homeschooling co-op, for Jewish families, and we're outside a lot. So I'm
Uh-huh.
that my kids, while they're not naked, they are getting something, coming in because, they're getting the microbes from the soil, they're climbing trees, they're in the sun, they're gardening, they're doing different things. So it's not just an indoor all day long. They're
Yeah.
getting, yeah, the outdoors as well. This
No,
is such a fascinating conversation.
yeah, no, in Europe, in North Europe, in the, I think, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. For example, my sister got TB when she was 3 years old and was in a sanatorium for a year and a half. And my grandfather bought us a place in the woods, almost in the woods, but close with forest all around. And the whole family was naked. We were always running around naked, but there were no other people. And we didn't even think about it. We didn't even think
Right, right.
there
My
was
little one's
nothing.
like that. She's 4 and she really just doesn't. And we're always like, put on clothes because, society, whatever. But some kids, they just don't have like, and they're just wanting to be free, I guess. So with the ADD, ADHD vials, you have a kit for that that's specifically for
Well, it's the same
they
thing
can use that
as the
for
autism kit.
ADHD.
It's the
Yeah,
same thing as the autism because it's the same.
it's brain
It's not the same
inflammation.
problem, but it's the same. Many of the reactions are exactly the same.
Right. It's
I
brain.
had one child who was 11 years old, almost as tall as I, and I'm tall, strong, and he kind of said, huh, "What can she do?" And I muscle tested him for the kit for the different vials, and his chin fell down to his chest when he just couldn't hold it. And he was in a special ed class. His mother was so ashamed. She was a teacher at the same school, and he was horrible. He was really, really a horrible child. And it was hard for me in the beginning to treat him, but I had to say to myself, he is sick, he cannot help it. And after a few treatments, he just changed and changed class, was in a honor student for the rest of his school things. And that was just I mean, I didn't even have the emotions at that time. It was just the foods and certain
Wow.
other.
Wonderful. So if there's ADD, ADHD involved, getting the kit for autism that includes neurotransmitters, histamines, and mast cell, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then lastly, before we finish here, is just sometimes people ask the question of, is this a test kit? Like they're
Yeah.
just testing. So
Yes, it
let's
is
clarify
not
that.
a test. It's not a test. And I can understand many people think it's a test, but it is a treatment. It's an energy treatment. And you don't know needles, you don't take anything, you never open the vials. So you can treat yourself and your whole family, and you can treat it, repeat it whenever you need to.
Okay.
And there is 30% back, 30% off for back to school. So
Until when? Until when is this
until the
special?
15th of September.
Okay, wonderful. So they have about a month. Okay, so what you'll need to put code school, capital letters, school 30, and that's your code for 30% off. That's a great deal, by the way.
Yeah.
So make sure you get that going. This kit really is, you can use it forever. It's not something that's just a one-time use. You can use it over and over and over as needed with family, friends, things happen, life happens. Sometimes things go, you're feeling better and then some kind of trauma happens, emotional trigger, and that can also offset things. And you can just go back to the basics and start the kit back over and see if it, moves anything, changes anything for you.
Yeah, because that can happen. Sometimes I had one patient who was cleared from everything, and then she had a traffic accident, and all her allergies came back. But then it was a breeze to treat them again, and
Right.
since then she's never had it again.
Right, the body remembers. Um, okay, wonderful. So like and share this video. Tell us what you think below in the comments, and we can't wait to see you again next week. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Ynge. I really love these conversations with you, and I will see you next week.
I do too. Thank you.
Thank you.